everyone, welcome to Watercolors with Jaylene, and for today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to draw a cute little gnome. With the holidays approaching, everyone's going to want to start making Christmas cards a little early, so I thought I'd throw, I know this seems a little early, but I thought I'd throw one in here now, give you something to start on. And of course, as the season gets a little bit closer, I'll be doing more of the holiday cards. But before we get started, I would like to ask you to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That really helps me a lot. I appreciate it. And so let me start by going over the very quick materials list. Okay, so for this one, I did make it as a Christmas card. So I have my watercolor paper, my background paper, and then of course my card stock. And you could make these as gift tags or really anything you want, but this is the holiday card. And every year I make so many of these. Each one is hand painted and they're just very popular. So this is one we're going to be doing today with a little tassel at the end of the hat. Now here's another one that I've done. This one does not have a tassel. So you can, mix it up, do some with, some without, whichever you prefer. You could do lines on the hat, and I think maybe for the one that we paint now, I will do something other than the polka dots. Polka dots are my favorite, of course. And for the dots, I actually used a white gel pen. However, they weren't dark enough because the red was very light. So I did end up going over those with a white gouache paint. So whatever you feel comfortable with and whatever design you come up with, you can always ad-lib with whatever you have. So, okay, so to get started with my materials list, I do have all of my card stock and everything. I have my Winsor & Newton 24K pan paints, some clean water to clean my brush off, and then I also have my pencil, an eraser, my Micron. This is a 05 nib, and it's waterproof, which is very important. And then my number 8 round brush and my white gel pen. And that's it. So to get started, let me move these out of the screenshot there. And we are going to start with our cardstock. So for the gnomes, I always like to start by using a pencil, and then I go over it, back over it with the marker, just in case I make any errors. I can always correct them. So when I'm designing this, I always start with the bottom of the hat, the curve of the bottom of the hat, and you can see that's a little bit below center of the paper. Okay, so because we want to make sure that we have enough height for the hat, and if you kind of space it like that, it looks pretty well centered. Okay, and there again, doing it in pencil, if it does look a little off someplace, you can always correct it before you use the marker and put it on permanently. Okay, so we'll start with just the curve of the hat. And then bring it around, and this, I take it straight up, and then and I kind of stop there. I want to do this side now, and kind of curve this around to make it that droopy look. And we'll bring this down, and then for the hat to be bent off to the side, you always want to bring the line inside of the middle of the hat. So for this one, we'll do the the poofy thing at the end. Okay, so now for the body, we kind of bring this down. And then somewhat flat across the bottom, because for the shoes you want the shoes to come out. They're almost like clown shoes. Okay, and no real detail to any of it. Now we want to add the gnome nose. A gnome wouldn't be a gnome without the gnome nose. So there's the nose, and then for the beard, we're going to just kind of want to pencil in some lines. And we start, you know, just a little bit down on either side. Okay, so that's the basic design. And now, when I go to draw this in, one of the things that I kind of want to point out is because the beard does go outside of the lines, that one I drew in quite a bit, but I'll show you what I've been doing. We'll start by drawing this all in. And I was fairly happy with everything, so I don't think there's really many things that I need to correct on this. And then for the little poof ball tassel at the end, you can just draw in a few longer lines, and in between those do short ones. Okay, so for the sides, I'm just going to draw down a little bit on either side, like to the first pencil line I drew for the beard, and then down here, and I'm going to leave that open. And then down here, come down and around, and then the shoes. So basically the lines, the outside of the body, they can be just a little sporadic hit or miss because you'll be filling in with the swipes of the beard. Okay. And we can do a few of these. If you want to put a couple shorter lines in, go for it. Okay, so that is now all with a permanent marker. So I'm going to go back and just erase my pencil lines right now. Get them out of there so we have a clearer picture of what we've got going on here. And for the, you know, for the holiday season, you could see I had a green one and a red one. Even if you did a blue one, you know, you could just, your imagination has no limits, right? So do whatever trips your trigger. But for this one, I am going to stick with the red, the traditional red. And what I want to do first is I'm going to paint in the lines for the beard. Now, for the beard being white, we actually are going to mix just one little dot of black. You could use black, you could use Payne's gray, whatever you have, with a lot of white. And I mean a lot of white, because we want this like barely off white. Okay, so because to paint white, really what you're doing is painting a very, very light shadow almost. And you can see how light this is. So we want to just kind of wispy paint this in. Okay, so we have that in. And the reason I do that first is because I'll be painting, you know, the color up into the beard. So I kind of want to see where I have that all spaced out at this point. So while we're letting that white dry, oh, and actually with that, let's not forget the little tassel. Let's do some wisps of this as well. Okay. There. And you can see as it dries, you know, it does have that very light look, but it's enough just to distinguish the fact that it is white whiskers. So while we're letting all of that dry, I might as well go ahead and do the shoes real quick. And it's not like I'm mixing up a bunch of custom colors for any of this. Now, if you wanted to, you know, for the hat and the body, you can, you know, come up with whatever color scheme you like. And you can see, you know, a couple of the wisps of the whiskers were down into the shoes, and I just painted over them. So, you know, this is just a real quick, easy thing. And if you're doing a lot of Christmas cards, you do want your designs to be really cute and really quick. When people, you know, at the holidays, when people get a design or a card that is hand painted, they cherish them. A lot of people will frame them, and you'll see them sitting out year after year. So you do want them quick and easy, yet cute. Okay, so for the hat and the suit of this one, I'm just using, like a crimson hue, a reddish crimson hue. It's not a solid red. And you just go through and paint this. This one I'm doing a little bit darker. Whoops, I went outside the lines there, and that's okay. Now, as I've mentioned in other videos, you know, watercolors, as they dry, they do lighten up. So keep that in mind as you're painting, because for this one, I don't know if I'm going to use a white design. I want to do something a little bit different than just the polka dots, just to kind of give you an idea of options. Some people might really like stars, stripes, you know, dots. Me and my polka dots, I put those on just about everything I make. If there's a place to put polka dots, I do it because I love them. There. Okay, so that's painted. Okay, so now to paint the suit for the little gnome, I'm going to turn it upside down so that I can start right at the bottom. And the suit part doesn't even have to be as dark as the hat. The hat is the focal point really for the color. So for this, you know, we just kind of, I want solid right along the bottom, but then bringing the color up, it's just, I'm just kind of wisping it up into the beard, you know, to give it the impression, you know, that the suit is red, and a little bit of color just pops out here and there from the underneath the beard. Okay, so that's complete. And then for the nose, the gnome nose, I do use yellow ochre. It's a nice color for like a skin, I guess, skin tone, or there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now, one more thing that I do want to do is on the, well then I have to let that dry just for a minute. So on the shoes, just to give it a little bit of character, these, I use a white gel pen and put highlights on the top of them. Okay, so we're going to let this dry momentarily so that we can go ahead and add a little bit of detail. And while that's drying, I'll just kind of show these to you once again. So on these two, I did use just dots, white dots, and I think I mentioned that for the white, I did use a white gouache paint. You can use your white marker. Now, on both of these, for the solid background paper, I put in a little framing on them. So this one I used the black, this one I used white. And, you know, white shows up really nice on the red as well. I've done many like that. So just kind of shake things up, you know, as you're doing your cards, and make each one a little bit different. So if you do send them to 2 family members, then they each have something a little bit different and unique. That's what makes it a lot of fun. And so I think, let's see, that's still not quite as dry as what I would like. So we're going to give this just a moment to dry. Okay, I think this is probably dry enough at this point. So I am going to, with my gel pen, let's And do that a little bit. So I'm just going to do some little squiggly lines along the rim of this hat, this droopy hat. Okay, just give it a little bit of character. They're pretty mild. They don't jump out at you, and that's okay. You know, I just kind of want that look. And then, of course, with any of my holiday designs and many other designs as well, I do like to use my glitter glue. And especially for the holidays, everything should have a little bit of glitter. And so I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it in this video, but put a little bit onto the tassel up there and then down through the beard. And like on this one, I did also put it around the edge. So, so that's it. That is actually done. And then for this one, I would put this on, you know, the red background. And as I had mentioned, this one I did the black border on it. So for this one, I just want to show you how nice the white shows up on here real quick. Just to give you an idea. And I just kind of, you can do whatever you want on your border. I always do these little X's every so often. I do 3 along the bottom and then 4 up each side. And then the corners. You can see how nice the white does show up on the red. And then after I finish this one, I have another gnome that I do want to show you, kind of like a little bonus idea, I guess. It's also a lot of fun. They're all a lot of fun. Painting is a lot of fun. We all love it, right? That's why you're here. Okay, so there, and then I put that on top of that background with the white trim, and look at how cute that is. So here are some ideas, and then I would mount that onto cardstock like I did with this one and also with this one. So for my little bonus surprise for a gnome, other than the holiday season, you can also do, like for people that are into sports, different teams. So I did the yellow and black. This is, you know, the Pittsburgh, and I don't want a bunch of comments down below about what team I support. I just actually chose these colors because they're fun and they're bright and bold. So I kind of wanted to point out, you know, I did a little, just some dots that go smaller and smaller. And basically everything is the same. I didn't put the tassel on this one. I did do a little border on the cardstock or the painting itself, and then I used the white back there. So that looks really cute. Also, you could use a yellow and put it on there, and it looks just as cute on there. So if you have someone, a friend or family member that has a birthday coming up that loves gnomes, because they are so popular for all seasons, not just the holiday season, but if they have a favorite sports team that you wanted to, you know, do the colors for, it's a great idea. And like I said, everybody absolutely loves these little hand-painted gnomes. So I'm going to put that one back up there. I think I like the black a little bit better. It's just very bold. So there is our sports team idea. And then we have these two that I'll set there. And that is about it for today's cute little gnomes. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, other than anything about sports teams. And as I had mentioned earlier, if you haven't already liked and subscribed to my channel, if you could do that now, I would really appreciate it. And until next time, ciao for now.